Great. I'm going to go ahead and record this too. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the C60 Show.
Hi, I'm Ken, a research scientist and founder of C60 Purple Power.
And I'm Sierra, certified functional nutrition counselor. Today we are doing a live Q&A. That means you guys need to get involved and put your questions in the comments if you haven't already emailed them to us, because that's why we're here, to answer your questions.
Yes, and we're here to answer all your questions about carbon 60.
Specifically, yes, about carbon 60. All right, well, let's get started. And also, would you let us know where you're from in the comments? Because we'd love to say hi. And but before we get started, we really need to let you know that all statements, products, or remedies discussed today have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. Any products or topics discussed today are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent, or mitigate any disease. Individual results may vary. All right, well, we are going to be talking about the research studies today and the health benefits, and always referring to those research studies, especially the human based. Those are the ones that we like to talk about, the ones about human that were done on humans or human cells. So any question that you ask us today, we'll probably go a little bit into that. But we also love to share your stories. So do chime in the comments if you have a story, an experience with C60. We would love to hear it. That's another reason why we're here, not just to answer your questions, but this is a community. And what makes it a community is you guys sharing your stories and telling us who you are and where you're from and all of that. So we'd love to see you in the chat. We're going to start with a few. Let me just check in with our assistant, Chris, here. And he says, we're live. Good, good. He's got some questions and ready for us.
Yeah, let's start with those.
Okay, we'll start with these today. This one's from Denise. He says, Dennis, please explain the correct way to use C60 as a daily skin serum. Straight out of the bottle or mix it with another serum product to boost it? How do you guys use it for this purpose?
Well, I just use it straight out of the bottle.
Yeah, I mean, you've probably seen there's products on the market these days that really they're called skin oil. And so you could use it as you would a skin oil. So after you freshly wash your face and you apply a toner so that it absorbs more easily, then you can just, a real little dab will do ya. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot. I recommend the avocado or the olive oil. The MCT, while it spreads very nicely and can absorb, it also has such a small molecular property that it can clog your pores. So that's why we recommend olive or avocado. And now the oils themselves have, the avocado and olive oil are very nutrient dense and good for your skin on their own. But when you add in the C60, C60, as we know in research studies on humans, can help prevent wrinkles and fine lines and things like that. Do you want to talk more about that study?
Oh, no, that was one of the first studies. Was the Japanese women, and they found that C60 in a cream decreased fine lines and wrinkles.
Awesome. Yeah, and also you can use it for other purposes as well. One formula I use, which is really simple, is a few tablespoons of C60 in a spray bottle with water. You can add some lavender oil if you want to make it smell good, or some other essential oil. But that is really, really good for the harder to reach, your back and things like that, where you can't quite reach that area. But also it's great as an after sun skin spray. So you could try that out. You could put that on your lips. A lot of times what I'll do, if it drips down the side of the bottle, I'll grab that and I'll put it under my eyes, So let us know in the comments, because I know there's a lot of people that use it a lot of different ways, and I've used it for topical purposes for all kinds of things. So chime in if you have any ideas.
Okay.
Which of your three oils is less likely to go rancid, and how can you prevent this from happening? Is it still safe to consume?
Oh yeah, well actually our oils go about 2 years before they go rancid, according to the manufacturers of the oils. But C60, of course, prevents rancidity, so it can actually last longer than that. But we just go with what the oil manufacturers give us. So yeah, you really don't need to worry about the oils going rancid, but you do need to keep them out of the sun So when you're not using them, just put them in the closet or the cabinet, and that'll be fine.
All right. And then you have promoted C60 as a libido booster. Can you further explain how it accomplishes this?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's C60 basically as we get older, our mitochondria, which are the energy powerhouse of the cell, they also make pregnenolone, which is the precursor molecule for the hormones. So as we get older, SOD and catalase and glutathione goes down, so your cells can't operate as efficiently. And once you get the C60 in, then the mitochondria ramp themselves back up, and they start making pregnenolone, which is the precursor molecule for all the hormones. And so, some of those are turned into androgens, which is testosterone, estrogen, or progesterone, and that's what causes the increase in libido.
That's right. So it's not directly, we don't like to say it increases libido. We can't say that, but indirectly it can result in that. And people have definitely come out with stories around that. Again, let us know in the comments if you have a story, but I guess with the research studies, when it comes down to it, what we do know is that the research studies say that it helps with mitochondrial efficiency. And so because of that, then we also know that it can help support hormone levels. And we've seen that time and time again. So hope that answers your question. This one's from Pia. Hi, Ken and Sierra. I'm from Denmark. Hi, thanks for letting us know where you're from. Does C60 have any effect on anxiety?
We've found that people that take C60, especially people with like adult Asperger's, I guess, yeah, it definitely reduces anxiety and social anxiety.
Now we did a show on all about mood and talked about how C60 can actually support your mood. Again, I mean it indirectly because C60 really supports good gut health, and that's where your serotonin is produced, is in your gut. So you need that serotonin level. If it's low, you're going to feel a little bit depressed or not as happy. So there's definitely check out that video because we really go into depth on that. Let's see. We have one from Mark. Is there any graphene oxide in C60? Oh, alert. This is a C60 myth about to be busted. Here we go, Ken.
There is no graphene oxide in C60. In fact, C60 in test tubes actually will catalyze graphene oxide back to carbon dioxide and water. So C60 has no graphene oxide, and also it gets rid of graphene oxide if it runs into it.
All right.
Any more?
Let's move on to our emails for a minute.
Yes.
Okay, here's one from Pat. I think in previous shows, Ken has mentioned that C60 appears to mimic catalase or replace catalase. If so, should I expect my hair to stop turning gray?
Actually, a lot of people that have white hair, when they take C60, it'll come back salt and pepper. And yes, C60 does have a lot of anecdotal reports from customers. In our own experience, C60 actually reduces gray hairs. So that definitely, it's actually an SOD catalase mimic because SOD and catalase work together to get rid of superoxide.
And so what causes the gray hair exactly?
It's usually a hydrogen peroxide, and catalase takes care of hydrogen peroxide.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Yep.
So as your catalase levels go down, and of course, we know that antioxidant production declines as you age. Catalase is one of those antioxidants. So it makes sense that the peroxide levels would go up and your hair would turn white. Let's see what else we got here from Shannon. I'd like more info on how it affects the brain when it passes the blood-brain barrier, and most especially the heart, for instance. People with congestive heart failure, how will taking carbon-60 affect them if they have a stent, for instance? And then she has some more, but let's start with those questions.
Oh, well, basically it's what C60 ramps up the mitochondria production in your brain and in muscles. And so if you think about it, the cells in your body that have the most mitochondria are the nerve cells and the muscle cells and the cells of the endocrine system. And so when C60 gets into those cells, it ramps up the mitochondria. They make more ATP, which is the energy molecule for the cell. Now your cell has full energy, so it can do all the jobs that it needs to do. And of course, and I mentioned it also produces pregnenolone, which is a precursor molecule for the hormones, and that's pretty important in your endocrine cells.
Well, not only that, but the oxidative stress has a huge effect on the brain. Inflammation in the brain is known to be linked with Alzheimer's and other degenerative cognitive decline conditions. So really, when you can address that oxidative stress, and because it crosses the blood-brain barrier, it, that gives it this unique ability to actually fight oxidative stress in the brain. And that's, I think, one of the most amazing things about C60. Now, we did a show called 12 Ways to Maintain Your Brain, and that's all about brain health and C60. So do check that one out on our channel. And then, we've got a little story from Shannon. She says, I've been taking C60 for about 3 months. I tell all my hair customers, so she must be a hairdresser, about it. And I make sure to tell them they can't be on blood thinners. I've been feeling much better in my heart and lungs due to being a smoker, and I am breathing better. But I do have some questions, and I do understand I should continue to take C60 to continue healing my body. She's been taking the minimal dosage every day, about a half teaspoon. And she wants to know, I guess there's no question there. She was just saying that she's doing about.
You could always
half,
push it up to a teaspoon, a full teaspoon. Because that's probably more what you'd be looking for getting benefits from.
And she says, God bless you for finding this and sharing it with us all. It's truly the fountain of youth. We think so too. Thank you. Let's see. Kirsten says, good morning. I'd like to know what human studies for C60 Purple Power have been done and their results.
Okay, well, the first one, of course, was the Japanese women one, reduce fine lines and wrinkles.
Now, this isn't for C60 Purple Power.
No,
it's
this is for
C60 dissolved in oil.
Yes,
olive oil,
the other
right?
one, yes, and actually the other one was shea cream for the Japanese women.
Right.
And then also they found that applied topically to the head, it increased hair growth. Not for male pattern baldness, sorry guys, but for other conditions that hair was lost. And then they did some cell studies. And that they found that C60 moderated histamine production release from mast cells, and then they took
which means allergies,
yes,
right?
Allergies, yes. And then they took that to animal studies, and C60 prevented the cytokine storm and anaphylactic shock. And then there's also ones where they found that C60 improved in immune cell function in human cells, and I think there's one more. C60 prevented the reproduction or growth of human fat cells. So
that's nice.
so C60 would, I guess, with human fat cells in the test tube.
That's interesting. Now, if you want to really dive deep into the science, you can visit shopc60.com/research. And we have all the studies there listed, and they're all human-based, and they all use the type of C60 that we use in our products. We don't use particles of C60 or nanoparticles or any of that. So just when you're looking at the studies, don't be confused by those studies. They're not relevant. You want to look at the studies that involve C60 singly dissolved molecules of C60 in an oil.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sandy says, okay, we got a question about dosage, and I want to share. Now, of course, individual results may vary. You need to listen to your own body and also check with a medical professional if you're on pharmaceuticals and things like that. But really, you decide what's right for you, right? If you feel like you're not able to sleep at night because you're so activated and your mind's still racing, because you have all this energy all of a sudden, then maybe tone it down a little bit. But if you feel like you need more and you're still tired or you're still having problems with health challenges and things like that, then try a little more. Just see how you feel, kind of experiment. But as a general rule of thumb, we've got a dosage chart that I think explain this perfectly. So I'm going to pull this up. But you want to go ahead and
let's just pull the dosage chart up and
okay, sure. Let's do it. Now I have to switch over to sorry, this got messed up.
Okay, there we go.
Let's try this, make it bigger.
Okay, I think we can see that now. Yeah, and so basically if you're looking at this is there's two things. This is for like if you're for your weight basically, and you can see the different amounts and stuff. And also, there's also probably when you get older. So this is for like people in their 30s or 40s. And but as you get older, you probably need to double that up. So for somebody, you got some gray hairs, you just double what you see here on the chart.
Yeah, so the dosage chart's really based on your body weight. But yeah, like Ken said, it can also, you might want to take a little extra if you're older because, like we've said before, your antioxidant production declines as you age. So your need for antioxidants might be higher.
Yeah.
So if for some reason you're not feeling the effects of C60 yet, try ramping up your dosage.
Yeah, that would be basically the performance dose on this chart.
Yes.
Would be what you're looking
Perfect,
for when
yeah.
you need when you're little gray hairs. I guess you need some performance there.
Right. But now there is a point to where you could take, I guess the efficacy isn't gonna, what do
Yeah,
they call that?
basically, yeah. At some point, taking more C60 won't do more for you. It's just
But people do it. I mean, I
yes,
know.
they do it, but yeah. So basically, more than a tablespoon or two a day is you don't need to do any
Plenty.
more than that, no matter who you are.
Yeah, so we have the beginner dose. Now that's if you're just starting out and it's your first time ever using C60, you might want to try that because there can be some detox effects. Not that C60 directly helps detox your body, but it can kind of deactivate any heavy metals that might be in your body. And the key word is there, deactivate, which is a good thing, meaning it can't
Yeah,
interact with. But you might taste metallic taste in your mouth.
yeah. It
Other,
just dislodges inorganic heavy metals and
mhm,
prevents their redeposition, so your body can clear them out. And
yes,
then the metallic taste goes away. That's for people with mouth metals,
yeah.
metallic fillings in their mouth.
And then, the maintenance dose is, if you don't have any health challenges, you're fairly young, then you can do that one.
Okay,
So,
well, I think maybe time to move on to our next questions.
okay. Um, Linda says, should you shake the bottle up before you take your C60?
Oh, that's always a good idea. Generally, there isn't much settling. Sometimes the C60, it's like in a cold environment, usually it's when the wintertime when it's getting shipping and it gets frozen or gets really cold, then you shaking it up kind of puts some of the C60 back into solution if it comes on. But yeah, shaking your bottle is probably a good idea.
I'm going to take a few questions from YouTube. Gayton says, can C60 help with energy?
Well, absolutely. That's one of the first things it does. When C60 gets in the mitochondria, it produces the mitochondria ramp up their production. They make more ATP. ATP is the energy molecule of the cell. So definitely, that's one of the first things people notice is an increase in energy.
Yeah, that is really the thing. And that leads to downstream effects as well, because if you have more energy, well, your brain uses more energy in your body than almost any organ, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's going to help with the brain function as well. If your cells have energy, you have energy. That's kind of how that works. Let's see. I just received my first shipment and earlier than expected. So excited about this. Awesome.
Good to hear.
I've heard that C60 is found out in space. Where do you find it in space? Is it on the moon?
No, actually, it's made in the atmospheres of giant red stars. Our sun will become a giant red star in about 4 billion years when it runs out of hydrogen and starts burning helium into carbon. And then there's a lot of it kind of puffs out, a lot of carbon goes out into outer space. And that's where the C60 forms. So it's pretty much made in the atmospheres of giant red stars, and it's all over outer space. It's one of the few molecules that could actually survive in the high radiation environment of outer space. It's a very tough molecule.
But it can also be made in a lab
Yes.
using the same type of combustion method that's out in the stars, right? So we don't go harvesting it.
Yeah, they actually make C60. They have 2 carbon rods in a low pressure helium atmosphere, and run electricity to it, and it all turns to ashes. And if you do it right, about 10% of that carbon turns into carbon 60.
Yes, and then there's a way to purify that, and
Mhm.
we always recommend getting sublimated C60 because that purification process involves no solvents. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of C60 we use in our
Yeah,
products.
so always look for 99.99% pure and sublimated C60. They say it's oven bake or they don't tell you, it's probably not sublimated.
Allison says, what is the most economical way to take C60? I would like to take it every day, every week, but this is not financially possible. So can I take it alternate days, alternate weeks, etc.?
Well, probably doing it alternate days would be the best if you're going to do that, because C60 hangs around in your body 4 to 10 days. So it just doesn't go away right away. So somewhere probably doing it alternate days would be a good idea.
Let's
in that
see. Or
case.
I mean, like if you're taking a tablespoon a day or something like that, you could divide that up into smaller doses. Um, but yeah, consistency is kind of important. So Mark Wilson says, is there any danger that C60 will eliminate healthy heavy metals like zinc?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't do that. It just seems to deal with like the bigger ones like lead and tantalum.
So the ones with a higher charge,
Yes,
right?
and it may do something with aluminum.
Okay. Fred says, does C60 offer any support to telomeres? From
What we
Reno.
people who use C60 for a long time, they've found that they tend to have an increase in telomere length. But we found that's probably to do. C60 will cause apoptosis in senescent cells. Those are like zombie cells in your body, where the telomeres are too short for them to reproduce to divide again, and so they're hanging around. And when C60 gets in there, it'll restart the mitochondria, and the mitochondria will send messages to the nuclear DNA. And if they don't get the right message back, they cause apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. And then the organ or tissue doesn't have as many cells to function correctly, so it sends messages to the stem cells, and the stem cells will go in there and become that new tissue type. Stem cells are like baby cells that haven't decided what they want to do. So they'll go in there and then they'll turn into a cell with a full set of telomeres. So that's how we think it's C60 increases average telomere length. Because when you're doing a telomere length, usually it's a tongue cheek swab or something. It measures the average telomeres of thousands of cells, not just one. And so on average, telomere lengths go up because you have a lot of those new stem cell baby cells, which have just converted into whatever cell type you're looking at.
So it's kind of like a refresh of your cells.
Yes.
That's interesting. Matthew says, when is the best time of day to take C60?
Definitely probably in the morning to noonish. That's the best time. If you take it late at night, it can kind of keep you up because it kind of ramps up the energy in your mitochondria. So you don't want that. So take it in the morning or noonish. Think about it kind of like caffeine, right? Or coffee. Right? You want to take that in the morning. And so that's probably what you want to do.
And is it best to be taken on an empty stomach?
If you're used to digesting oil straight, a lot of people aren't used to digesting oil straight, or if you just started doing it, you might want to take it with food. That's perfectly fine. But if you can and are used to digesting oil straight, then on empty stomach is probably the best.
All right. Is there anything C60 should not be taken with, like certain supplements, medications, detox products, etc.?
Basically, the one thing we found is blood thinners, because C60, when it gets in, it'll restart the adrenal cells. And so they'll start producing mineralocorticoids, and mineralocorticoids regulate the blood pressure, basically. And so our blood thickness, I guess I should say, they regulate blood thickness. So if you're on a blood thinner and you take C60, the underlying cause of causing your blood to be thick will go away, and now your blood is too thin. So if you're going to do that, you need to talk with your medical professional and just get more testing to make sure that the medication might need adjusting.
Now, it doesn't really react. I mean, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't interact.
Anything.
No, C60 doesn't interact with any mineral, supplement, right, nutrient, vitamin, nothing. It only interacts with like the two oxidative radicals, and basically it just lifts the oxidative burden your cells are under. So now your cells can operate the way that they're meant to be, and then those cells are what those cells being able to operate the way they're supposed to be fix the problem. So,
and those free radicals that he's talking about, the two free radicals, those are the most damaging free radicals, and they're also the very, very highly charged free radicals, right?
Yes, so the most reactive.
Yeah,
so they do the most damage. So yeah, once those are gone, then your cells can work much better.
And then also I want to mention that as far as detoxing products, if you're taking something that absorbs toxins in your colon, you don't want to take that at the same time as you're taking your C60 because it might absorb the C60.
Yeah, because they absorb the oils, like zeolites.
Like charcoal.
Activated charcoal or zeolites can sometimes absorb the oils that hold the C60. And so now since the C60 is with the oil, it stays with them. So,
and that probably would include bentonite clay as well, I imagine.
Yes. Yeah, so just take those at different times. You can take them a couple hours after you've taken your C60.
But yeah, I mean, I take my morning supplements at the same time I take my C60. So definitely not a problem.
Yeah, things like, because the C60 is an oil, so oil soluble things like B vitamins and D vitamins and A vitamins are good with, an oil.
Yeah.
So,
Now, while we're on the topic of vitamins, I just want to mention that you should still keep taking your vitamins. You should still be getting plenty of
yes.
vitamin C. All those antioxidants are essential to your body. It's just that vitamin C60 also just additional has really powerful properties, 200 times more powerful than vitamin C, D, and E.
Because and vitamin C and vitamin D and the B vitamins, they're actually like building blocks for a lot of the chemistry in your body. So vitamin C isn't quote antioxidant, but it's also like a critical building block and key in a lot of enzymatic pathways. So you need to still have those.
But those antioxidants can't deal with those really highly charged oxidative radicals. And so that's why the C60 is helpful. Now, catalase and glutathione and what was the
SOD, superoxide dismutase.
Those really can't be supplemented. I mean, they are making some headway with glutathione, but it's really hard to get it where it needs to go because it's hard for it to pass the gut barrier, the blood-brain barrier, and all of that. So that's why C60 is not only 200 times more powerful than conventional antioxidants like vitamin C and D and E, but it also can, get to more places, and it can help with the oxidative radicals that are produced in your body when you're exercising and things like that. And those are the most damaging. So let's move on to Matthew's question. I already said that. Okay. Kimberly says, hi, I'm taking MOTS-c peptide. I just want to make sure it's okay to take the C60 purple power at the same time.
Yeah, you can take them at the same time. C60 will not interact with that peptide or any peptide whatsoever.
Okay, here's another one. Does the C60 coconut MCT have less C60 than the other oils?
Oh yeah, well that's basically because the C60 has like a hydrogen bonding method. The carbons in the C60 like to hang out with hydrogens, and so it's the carbon length, chain length on the oil. So like for instance, olive oil and avocado oil, those have 18 carbon length chains. So they're going to hold more C60 than MCT, which has basically 8 to 6 chain carbons, because they're shorter, so they hold less. So they hold less C60, and that's the reason, just the change. But the thing about MCT is that MCTs can be turned into your liver almost instantly into ketones, which your cells can use as a fuel. So it's kind of like flex fuel for your cells. So if you've got glucose processing issues, MCT is a really good idea for you.
Now, one thing to note is, and this isn't the case for a lot of companies, but we use the maximum concentration of C60 that will dissolve in our oils. So, and it's always labeled, it's right on there, the concentration, and we have certificates of analysis and testing to prove the purity and concentration of all of our products.
Yeah, we got little QR codes on our
packaging
that you can just scan in your phone and go see those things. And we do microbiologic testing too, so you can see that too.
All right. If one is taking serrapeptase and berberine, is there any contraindications?
No, they won't interact with each other.
Okay, great. All right, we got a few more email questions. Sarah says, hi, after having a total knee replacement, I had a massive inflammatory response with fibrosing everywhere, so I can't bend my knee. I am about to go through major surgery to clean it all out. Do you think C60 would help stop that reaction? And if so, how much should I take pre and post surgery?
Well, we can't really talk about, things that help humans, but in animal studies, C60 significantly reduces inflammation. That's one of its main things in animal studies, and also it does in human cell studies. It does kind of reduce that histamine inflammatory response. So we do have that in the cells. So yeah, and we have lots and lots of anecdotal things that people take C60 before surgery and after surgery. Their doctors are really impressed with the quality and speed of their healing. So. Yeah, anecdotally, it's been found to really help people with surgery.
But do ask your doctor, because a lot of times they make sure that you're not on any supplements or anything that could thin your blood.
Yeah,
right? Before surgery.
Yeah, that's exactly, when they tell you to stop eating food and stuff.
Yeah.
Before surgery, you stop taking the C60.
But you could take it up to that time,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Just take a little extra up until that time. And
remember,
it'll still be in your body.
Remember, C60 is in the oil.
Right.
And that oil is a food.
Yes.
And so when they say stop taking food, you got to take the C60 because it's dissolved in oil.
Right. And until they say you can eat food again, solid specifically,
don't take your C60.
But definitely tell your doctor what you're doing and get your doctor's advice. Here's one from Carrie. I recently started taking C60 Purple Power and I'm already feeling its benefits. I also give it to my dogs and I think it's helping them too. What about horses? Can they have it? If so, what is the dosage?
Yeah, horses can have it, and the dosage is basically a tablespoon for 200 pounds for a horse. If you think about a horse, and I don't know how much your horse weighs, but 1 tablespoon for 200 pounds of what a horse weighs. So, and horses can be all different sizes and weights. So whatever that is, 1 tablespoon per 200 pounds.
You can visit shopc60.com/health benefits for pets. Actually, if you just look on our menu on the homepage, you can see it. And on that page, there is a pet dosage chart. Chris, maybe you can link to that page for everyone in the chat. That'd be great. Let's see, here's one from Steve. How is C60 eliminated from the body?
Basically, some comes out to the kidneys and the urine, and the other is basically goes out with the gall from the liver. The liver will collect it out and push it out through the gall, and then the gallbladder, and then into your intestine.
Are there any good recipes to mix it with?
Yes. Don't you have a home?
We have a recipe book, guys. Yes. And if you want to get that, Chris, if you could post the link as well for opting in to get our recipe book. But I use it all the time in food and drinks and things like that. We also have a C60 recipes playlist. I've posted one there, but if you guys have a recipe that you want to share, we might share that on social. So definitely let us know. People, one of the famous ways to use it is in your coffee or in a smoothie. But we don't recommend cooking with it. No. So add it later. Yeah. And then because it's an expensive thing, you also want to use it, like if you're using it, for instance, in a salad dressing or something like that, you kind of want to drizzle it on top so you're not wasting any on the bowl.
Do we have the screen so they can see us?
Oh, they can see us.
Okay, great. Yeah, we also have, that's one of the things we have. We have the little packets. And these are it's like single servings, so you can put it in your purse or your backpack or pocket even. And that's a lot of people like this for their coffee. This is MCT oil, so for the paleo coffee, you can do that with.
Yeah, let's see. Fred says, good response on the telomeres. The other day, I saw some discussion on C60 that sounded like HGH. Does it have any effect on hormonal activity?
Oh yeah, that's one of the things. When C60 gets in there, it gets into your cells of the endocrine system. And so like in the pineal gland, you're going to produce more melatonin. In the pituitary hypothalamus complex, you're going to produce more human growth hormone.
Yes.
And a whole bunch of other master hormones that complex produces. And the same with T3 and T4,
thyroid,
and the in the adrenals, you got mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, and androgens. So yeah, because C60 kind of increases hormone levels across the board by making the hormone organs work better.
All right. Thank you for that, Fred. Dennis says, I have read that it is possible to take too many antioxidants.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons that you don't want to take. There has to be a balance between antioxidants and oxidative radicals, because some of the oxidative radicals in your body, like nitrogen oxide, hydrogen peroxide, and some based around sulfur, iron, and zinc, are actually used by signaling molecules in your body. So like if you take too much NAC or too much, let's say, vitamin E, it can actually interfere with those signaling molecules, and now you have problems. Well, think about C60. C60 does not interfere with any signaling molecules in the body. And they did even a study where they gave 1 gram per kilogram of body weight of C60, which is 10,000 times what's been found a health beneficial dose, and they had no negative effects. So C60 doesn't have that suppression of the oxidative species, which your body uses as signaling molecules. So that doesn't apply to C60.
Yeah, it only interacts with those highly charged oxidative radicals, the 2 that we mentioned before, and nothing else. And the body does not use those specific radicals for signaling processes.
Yes.
Right? Okay. All right. Shelley says, can C60 be used topically for wound healing?
Yes, I've actually done that myself, and it really helps in the healing. And even like mosquito bites, if you put some C60 on top of a mosquito bite, in about 20 minutes, it'll stop itching, which is really nice. So yeah, and didn't you have one sunburn?
Yeah, I had a really bad sunburn, and I told you about my formula earlier, the after sun skin spray. I did that for several days, and not only did it turn from red to tan, and I didn't peel, but I had a skin tag that turned black and fell off. So you never know. We're all experimenting here. So Pia says, does a coconut oil solution ever become solid in a cool room on a winter day?
No, we use MCT coconut oil, which is a distillation. The average carbon chain length in regular coconut oil is like 16 and 14. So but the distillation we get is which is MCT is 10s, 8s, and 6s. In fact, it will stay liquid even in your refrigerator.
Mm-hmm. And let's see. All right, I think we're coming out on the last question. Last call. If you have a question and you haven't asked it yet, please let us know in the chat because we're going to wrap this up. Fred says, would liposomal treatment help with C60 absorption?
Well, C60 is already in an oil. So liposomal would not really make a difference because the C60 is already in the oil. So liposomal is basically you put a oil coating around something so it can get through your digestion system. But because C60 already sticks to the oils, that's really not, you don't need to do liposomal C60 because it's already in an oil.
All right. Well, I think that is it for our questions today.
Okay,
great. If you're watching the replay or you still have a question that we didn't answer, please put it in the comments because we'll be happy to answer those after. But thank you so much for tuning in today. We appreciate you guys. We wouldn't be here if you weren't. So thank you. If you enjoyed our show, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with your friends.
And if you'd like to try C60 for yourself, visit shopc60.com and remember to use the coupon code TheC60 Show for 10% off.
And if you're watching us on YouTube today, make sure you subscribe to our channel and click that little bell icon so you get a notification every time we upload something new. We'd love to see you again.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again on our